As you can see, I'm in a different location this week. I had to fly on a plane to get here, which was a little nerve-wracking, but I made it safely. I'm in LA for the Production Music Conference, downtown LA to be exact. I got here for the event. I thought it was going to be a online and in-person event for most of the time. In fact, the in-person event does not start for another day. So instead of sitting around the hotel, I decided to come to Santa Monica and check out the pier. I'm with two guys that I know a little bit and two guys that I've never met in my entire life. And we drove to Santa Monica and we're checking out the sights. This is Chris. And is it Dan?
Yeah, Dan.
It's Dan. See? I told you, I don't even know his name. Chris and Dan are production music composers like myself, made the pilgrimage and also made the same mistake. And so we're making the best of it by touring the Santa Monica Pier, which you have to do when you come to Santa Monica. If you've watched my channel, you know that I've invested quite a bit of my time into the production music business. The Production Music Association is dedicated to advancing the unique value of production music and working together to ensure a better future for our community. What makes this conference unique and worth attending, at least in my opinion, is that there are two different tracks. There's the library owners and the people who are involved in the day-to-day business of running these big libraries, and the companies that help facilitate those libraries, provide tracking services and ad revenue on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the composer side of things, which it's for composers who have never written a piece of music for production music and want to learn about it, all the way to those who have been doing this for a long period of time and who've been writing for decades. But what I enjoy the most is that each year I reconnect with people who have committed themselves to writing production music year in and year out, and they feel the need to come to this event because they're in Dallas or Minneapolis or Oklahoma City or Nashville or more remote places where there's very few people that are in this business. And so when we get together, we can make jokes about production music, which no one else in my life gets, but it can be kind of funny in the car when someone makes a production music related joke that lands. And this is anecdotal evidence, but there is one thing that I notice from people that seem to have success in this business, is that they understand the long game nature of this. And there are simply some people, and I work with new people all the time, who aren't quite there yet. Maybe they're used to working in the artist world where it's all about getting a hit and being current and that happening super fast, writing something, pitching it, an artist records it, and then it's on the radio and you get paid for that thing. And that's very different from what we do. We write music and we put it out there and we hope for the best, and we have to make the best decisions possible on where we put the music, the kind of music that we're writing, but a lot of it is somewhat out of our control, and each and every one of us goes through these phases where we think, am I doing the right thing? Is this really where I should be putting my time? But I over and over again talk to people who decided and committed to writing music for years and years before they saw any return. So just being here with some of those people and talking to them, you know, there's always a side of this where people are upset about where the business is going. And a lot of that is true. I mean, there are some problems in the industry and they need to be addressed. But there have always been problems in the music industry since day one that I entered, when I said, I want to be a musician. And then, Napster became a huge thing. I've always dealt with the end of some way of people getting paid, but it always resulted in something new. And I don't want to discount people that have concerns about the business, but you can get off track very quickly. And the people that are still doing this after years and years, they learn to adapt. and you don't want to sell anybody out. You don't want to make decisions that harm other people, but you have to be forward thinking and forward looking. And that's a mindset that I seem to connect with a lot of people that show up at this event. They just understand that this is a business where you make the best decisions you possibly can on the people that you work with. You put that music out there. You make the best decisions on whether or not you should continue working with those people. But so much of it's out of our control that if you let that take over, then you might miss out on other opportunities. I've said similar stuff on this channel before, and I'll probably continue to say it. There might be a time where you think, John, you just need to stop talking about that. But I think that showing up, whether it's writing production music or even me making YouTube videos every week, I just think that showing up for me makes so much more sense, because I don't feel like I'm someone who can write the best piece of music for everyone to love, or I don't feel like I can make the best, most engaging Mr. Beast style YouTube videos. But I think there's something to be said for showing up, gaining people's trust, and working in such a way that people know that they can come to you for something and they can get a result that they can trust, that will be satisfactory, might even be great, and that I will give that company something that they can use to better their company and to connect with their clients. And that's what matters. This year the conference is quite a bit different. A lot of the international sub-publishers can't even get into the country, so because of that a lot of people aren't going to make the trip. But I think it's important that if you're in the United States or wherever, that you find people that are doing what you're doing, if nothing else, to just share some stories and realize that you're not the only one, and that there are people who are having success, and that most of the time in this business is because they have an understanding that it's a long game and success does not come quickly. It takes a while, and that you will get better along the way and you will meet people along the way. And if companies and publishers are still asking you to contribute music to their labels, then that probably means that there's a need for what you're doing. And so it's nice to come to these events, reconnect with these people, share my stories, hear theirs, and know that I'm not alone in this. And when I do feel like I am spending a lot of time and not seeing the return that I want, that, oh, okay, I can hold out for a little bit longer. I can continue to buckle down and make the best music that I possibly can, let it go, and see what happens. I recently went through my database and looked at all the music that I've written over the past 9 or 10 years, and the highest earning albums are those from 2011, 2012, 2013, 2015. And every now and then something would happen with a newer album that it would really take off. But for the most part, newer albums haven't made as much money, and the old albums have. And it takes a long time. And if you put yourself in a position where you're writing a lot of music, eventually something is going to happen to a track, and it might find its way onto something that plays all over the world for the next 20 years. But you only get that opportunity if you earn that opportunity by continuing to show up. So I imagine next year, fall of 2022, I'll be back in LA, talking to the same people, telling the same production music jokes, hopefully getting the same laughs, and I'll do it again the next year. All right, take care.